Hello guys, welcome to the channel, and here we are. Here's the big one. Here is my top 10 favourite horror films of 2024, which has been quite a difficult one because it's been a great year for horror films, and some of them have not made the top 10. There's been some great films, some different sort of films that I've seen this year which I've really loved. So I've got um three honourable mentions, one honourable mention, and my top 10. So the honourable mention is a film because I've not seen it yet, but I know I'm gonna love it. I just never got around to seeing it, and that's called The Heretic, starring uh the English guy. What's his name? Hugh Grant. Yeah, so that's an honourable mention because I know I'll love that sort of film because it's my sort of cup of tea, but I just haven't got around to seeing it. And the three honourable mentions are um, Alien Romulus and Terrifier 3. I've not put them in. They were both great films. Um, I didn't put them in there because most of the reason is they are a part of a franchise and they haven't bought anything new. So to really qualify in my top 10, it's you've got to bring something a little bit new to the kind of to the film, something that's a little bit different, maybe an engaging story. But if it's a continuation of a story, it's a bit difficult. Whereas, like last year, I had the last Scream film in my top 10, but that's because it was different. It brought something new to the table. It went to New York, didn't it? It was based in the city, or it might be Chicago. I can't remember, but it was based in the city, so it added a new element to the film. So that's why that was in there. But those films were like continuations of that. There is although that I'm being hypocritical because there is one film in here that is part of a franchise, but it brought something new to it. So that is why that's in here. But those two films, Alien Romulus was a good film. It's not one of my favourite Alien films. It was good. It ticked every sort of box, although it was cheesy in places. And I did enjoy it, but I didn't like the characters. I didn't connect with any of the characters in the film. So it didn't make my top 10 for that reason. Terrifier 3 was fantastic. It was brilliant. It was on the same par as the other ones, but it didn't bring anything new. So it was no real difference to 2 or 1. So I thought I can't put that in just because of that reason. Although I did enjoy the film, both those films are fantastic and worthy of being in anyone's top 10, but it didn't make mine. And there was one more honourable mention didn't make the top 10. It just sort of slipped out of the top 10, and that was Maxine, starring what's it? Mia Goth. That's it. Good film, but it's a little bit a part of a franchise, a part of the Ty West X sort of franchise where we've had Pearl X and now Maxine. And it was a good film carrying on her story from that film, and it was really good. Absolutely loved it, and it was in the top 10, but it's just got pipped out. So there we go. It's just the way it is. I really enjoyed the film though, and I can see it being in many people's sort of favourite horror film of the year. It was really cool, really good. She was fantastic, and it was a really another good sort of entry by Ty West. But unfortunately, it just slipped out of my top 10. So here we go. This is Joffy Noodle Legs top 10 favourite horror films of 2024. And in at number 10 is M. Night's Trap. So this is the one that pipped out Maxine. Although Maxine is more of a horror film than this, there was more gore, more violence in it and stuff like that. This was different, and it was like a psychological, almost Hitchcocky kind of feel to the film, which I really enjoyed. And it was a film of two halves, where the first half of the film was filmed at a concert, where the trap was set for this serial killer. And in the second half is the serial killer's cat and mouse with the police after he's escaped their grip at the concert. So that was such a good concept of a film, and it was really played out, and I thought it was really cool. I was really gripped by watching it. Like I said to you, if you've seen the review on my channel, I absolutely loved the film. The only thing I didn't like about it was the music. I thought it was hideous, but that's just because I don't like pop music. I just find that sort of bland sort of music terrible. Anyway, that's number 10. Number 9 is a kind of vampire film, and it's called Abigail. This was another really cool film about these crooks that have been sent to this house to rob this safe. But no, not to rob this safe, to kidnap this girl. I was thinking of something else. To kidnap this girl. But they don't realise that was a trap as well, and she's actually a vampire, and so they're all in there to be her food, if you like. And it sort of plays out as a comedy stroke sort of horror, which is really, really cool. Really good film, really good fun. Some great effects in it. Quite a bit of CGI in it, which is a little bit of a downer. I did score it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed the film when it came out. Really cool, and it's definitely worth a pick up. Something a bit different, like a real good different take on the vampire film. But yeah, I really liked it. So number 9 is Abigail. Number 10 is it's a personal sort of comfort film for me. A lot of people won't put this in their top 10s, but I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. And at number 8 is Sting, about a killer giant spider from outer space. I just loved it. Me and my lad went to see it at the cinema, and we had a great time watching it. It was awesome fun. It had a real 80s, 90s sort of creature feature throwback to it, which was brilliant. It plays out like an Alien film, like Alien, but it was so cool, and the characters were good, and I liked the creature effects. It had some practical effects in it as well as CGI, which is really cool. And I like the sort of premise of the story, and we just had a great time watching it. And so it's in there for personal reasons that we had good fun watching it. So not all films have got to be serious. They've got to be about what sort of makes you happy as well. And this made us happy. Really, really cool. Loved it. Sting at number 8. Number 7 is a slasher film with a difference, and it's in a violent nature. Now, this is a film that's, again, got a lot of sort of like people loving it and people hating it. Now, I loved it because it was a different take on a slasher film, where it kind of plays out like a video game almost, where you're a killer and you've got like a third person view following the killer around as he goes around committing his crimes. And there's some really gory, close to Terrifier sort of level kills in the film, and there's some off-screen kills. It's got a good mixture, and the film is a bit of a strange one because you're following the killer. There will be bits where it's like, well, why are we just staring at this bit of wood? Well, why aren't we moving? Why are we looking at this branch? And all this sort of thing. There's bits where you can hear people talking, but you can't see anyone, sort of thing, because you're the killer and you're hiding. And it plays out really well, and it's a really cool film, really gory, and it is quite violent. Really good film. Again, another great film I had great fun with. So it's in my top 10. I loved it. And number 7 is In a Violent Nature. So we're getting there, down to the top 6. Number 6 is a film that I've not reviewed too long ago on my channel. Really cool. Late Night with the Devil. Another really cool film based in the 1970s. It's based on a 1970s chat show where the host is trying his best to keep his chat show up because his ratings are sort of dropping, and it's on Halloween night, and he's invited some sort of different guests, like a psychic and that, to do some sort of like supernatural sort of guests and stuff like that. And a part of them is a psychologist doctor that he invites on with a young girl who is supposed to be have possession of a demon in her, and things start to take off on the TV show live. So it's really, really cool. Absolutely fantastic film. It's a little bit Ghost Watch if you ever saw that, but this is a lot better than the Ghost Watch. Obviously, it's more up to date, and it's full of atmosphere. Absolutely fantastic. I really love that film. It's a film I will watch probably yearly because it was such good fun and really well acted, and it was so sort of cool. Yes, near the end it got a little bit OTT, but hey, what the hell, it's horror, you can. But again, it's another real fun watch, and I highly recommend Late Night with the Devil at number 6. So we're going to the crucial top 5, and this was really hard because these moved about quite a lot. I thought, oh, it's my favourite film of the year, and then I saw another one, and then this took over, and then no, that's my second favourite. Oh, hang on a minute, I preferred that one, and it was really hard to get to my top 5, but this is it, and this is what I'm sticking at. And number 5 is one of the films that I said is a part of a franchise, but gives something new to the franchise, and that is The First Omen. Really cool entry to the franchise. It continues. It's a prequel to The First Omen. So this is why it sort of fits in more. Now, you had the Omen Awakening, which was like after Omen 3, and it didn't fit in with it. It's more like a TV movie, and it didn't really fit in with the franchise at all, but this does, because when it sort of concludes, it fits into the front of the Omen original, and it's really cool. And it's about a young nun that's going to this convent, and she's being taken there to hopefully breed with the jackal to create the son of the devil. And that's what the film's about, and it's really, really cool. Really good entry to the Omen films. Great cast, amazing cast, and really fantastic film. So number 5, The First Omen. Number 4 is a British film. Absolutely amazing. It's called Out of Darkness. Now, this is a film, survival horror film based in the Stone Age times. And it's about a small tribe that have just landed upon this shore trying to find a new home, a new shelter. And they're being sort of pursued, they think, by some sort of creature. At night, they hear this sort of creature, a monster, that they believe is following them, and is cursing them. And it's about their sort of survival there. And they get attacked upon. There's some gruesome deaths, and they resort to cannibalism because they're so hungry, and all this sort of thing goes on. A real survival horror, and it plays heavily on its noise, sound, darkness, and light, because the script is in a different language. I think it's like, I don't know if it's a created language just for this film, but obviously it's supposed to be a language that is like a Stone Age language. It's not in English, it's subtitled. It's not in a language at all, I don't believe. But wow, what an amazing film. It's so suspenseful, it's scary, there's some gore in it, and it's quite unsettling to watch. And you feel for this small tribe as they're trying to survive the horrors of the darkness. Out of Darkness, absolutely fantastic film. So the top 3, this is the 3 that kept changing around, but I'm sticking with it now. Number 3 is an American film called Long Legs. Really cool film. Again, another different take on a horror film based on a serial killer and the investigation of a serial killer. Long Legs, played by Nicolas Cage. Absolutely fantastic. Really eerie. Again, I think this is also set in a different time period, either the 70s or the 80s, and it plays out really well, and it's really fantastically acted. It's well paced. The photography in it's amazing. The soundtrack's good, and all of that adds to this really fucking creepy atmosphere this film brings. Really cool film. A lot of people said it's the scariest film in decades. I wouldn't agree with that. I think that's misleading. I don't think it's scary. It's definitely creepy and atmospheric. Now, if you go in thinking I'm going to see a creepy atmospheric film, you'll probably enjoy it more. If you're going in trying to think, oh, it's going to be really scary. It's not. It's just atmospheric, and it's creepy, and it's awesome. So my third favourite horror film of 2024 is Long Legs. Number 2 is a British film, and it's a folk horror film called Starve Acre. This is wonderful. This came out again later in the year, October. Really fantastic, and it stars Matt Smith. And what's the young lady's name again? Oh, is it Morphew Clark? She's fantastic. And it's about this couple in Ireland living on this farm, and there's this tree root that's in their farm that's supposed to be cursed because it was used years ago in sort of like folklore ceremonies and executions, and it's sort of haunting their area and their grounds. And Matt Smith tends to get obsessed by it, and all these weird things happen. And it's a real, very sort of classic folk horror film. If you think along the lines of Blood, Satan, Claw, um, Wicker Man, if you think along those sort of classic lines, it is up there with those films. And it's filmed this year, and it's fantastic. It plays out really cool. Again, it's set in the 1970s, I believe, or it could even be the 60s, but I think it's the 70s, and it plays out really well. The costumes are fantastic, the acting is superb, the story is awesome, and again, it's quite eerie and quite scary, this one at points, and it's really, really cool. Starvaker, highly recommend that film, guys. My second favourite horror film of 2024. So there's only one film left that I could really pick as my favourite film. My favourite horror film of 2024 stars Sydney Sweeney in Immaculate. Not a major difference from the first Omen story. This is based on a nun going to Italy to take her final vows, and she gets drawn whipping this thing where she seems to be pregnant, but she's not had sex with anyone, so they think it's an immaculate conception. Or is it? And all these strange, bizarre things and killings go on around her and the convent and what's going on. And it's a really sort of like a disturbing film. This is quite a disturbing horror film. I'd put this in the disturbing category. And obviously non-exploitation film. It's been a good year for those religious sort of horrors. There's been quite a few religious horrors this year, which is really cool. But this one is really fantastic. I found it disturbing, I found it eerie, I found it scary, I found it gripping. I was gripped to the story. It was amazingly well acted. It was great atmosphere. The costumes were awesome. The set pieces were awesome. The effects were good. The gore was good. There's quite a bit of gore in this film. And the story, it was just like really compelling. And it was like, it's almost like an ultimate horror film, like The Witch and things like that, which was an ultimate horror film to me. And this one I would class as that. It's a 10 out of 10 film for me. So my favourite horror film of 2024 is Immaculate. So there we go. That's my top 10 of this year. So a little recap for you. Number 10 was Trap. Then it was Abigail. Then Sting. Then In Violent Nature. Late Night with the Devil. First Omen. Out of Darkness. Long Legs. Starvaker. And Immaculate. And that is my top 10 favourite horror films of 2024. So let's roll on 2025. Yes, I didn't put some films in there. There was other films that came out this year that I loved. The Lords of Misrule, which was fantastic, an amazing folk horror film. We've seen other films this year, me and my lad. I think it's Friday Night Freddy's. We enjoyed that. Imaginary, we enjoyed that. They were both really cool films, really good. And we've seen some other horror films, and I said Alien and Terrifier 3, all really cool films, but I can only fit 10 in 10, and these were the 10 that stood out the most for me. These are the films that I thought were the most impressive horror films that came out this year. Really cool. And there we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming into my channel this year. I think I've reviewed all these on my channel already. So if you're interested in checking out any of these, put in your YouTube description, Joffrey Noodle Legs, Starvaker, whatever, and I'm sure it'll come up showing you where my review is for that, or whatever film it is you might be interested in seeing. But I have reviewed them all, and I hope there's something there that you haven't seen. I hope there's something there you have seen. Whatever you choose for your top 10, I hope it's fantastic for you. That's fantastic for me. Really, really cool. Thanks, guys, for this year. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. I will be making more videos before Christmas, obviously, but if you're only watching this one, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And hopefully next year let's try and get to my 1,000 subscribers. I'm up to about 800 now, so I'm quite happy with that. Even if I stayed at 800 guys, I'd be really happy. You know, it's about just for fun, this channel, and I'm having a great time with it, and I hope you are too. And a massive shout out to the channels: Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzoel. I am the Ice Lord, the Maniac, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.